Hello, everyone. Jason Hagholm here, and welcome to another edition of Jason and the Gentleman, episode 26 to be exact. And joining me, as always, is my co-host, the number 7 ranked bantamweight in Bellator, and on the verge to getting his 21st professional win in a couple of weeks, I should say, the gentleman of mixed martial arts, the gentleman Josh Hill. Josh, how are you doing?
Lucky number 7, eh? Lucky number 7. Yeah, well, we'll see. How that should be bumping that up pretty soon. But I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm out in California actually right now. I just got here last night. Just we were talking before this. Is sick and tired of the bullshit lockdowns that they're doing in our province, and having to sneak around and do underground training and trying to set up sessions. So I just said, hell with it, to come out here for a few weeks and and get my camp in, and I'll come back before my fight. But yeah, it's good, and the training, it's always good out here.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was gonna just ask, like, how long do you plan on staying out there, Josh? Because obviously, Ontario, as for those of you who don't know, Ontario is in a lockdown pretty much until the beginning of May. A weird lockdown with certain restrictions on certain things and other not. But obviously, you're gearing up for one of your bigger fights of your career. Potential number one contender fight in Bellator. How long do you plan on staying out there? You say a couple of weeks, but do you just maybe want to do all your training out there in California?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna be out here for 2 weeks anyway, and then we'll see. And then I might come home and just finish my last bit off at home. I can make it work for sure, but I don't know. We'll see. See how kind of plays out, and what's happening in the world back home, and how stupid how many more stupid decisions they plan on making, and ruining people's lives. But we'll see, man. But either way, I'll make it work. I'm already in good shape. I feel good. Yeah, I could fight this weekend.
Well, all right. I don't doubt the shape you're in, and it's good to see your back's better and you're getting the good reps in, especially out there, as you know how it works, and Team Alpha Male always treats you well. But I mean, it just seems kind of right now, wouldn't it make more sense to do your training and then fly from California out to Connecticut?
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's just a long time away. All right. I'm not by myself anymore. If I was just a single dude, then yeah, I'd be living out here for sure until this is all done, right? But yeah, I got, family at home and whatnot. So, but we'll see. We might do that. It's not out of the question yet. But I was out here about a month ago anyway, and then I came back for a bit, and I'm back out again. So I kind of like to do that just to kind of instance and just. And don't get me wrong, the training back home when we do get the room together, it's a good room. Doing a lot at Niagara Top Team, and then of course with Linden, and a bit at my gym. But it's just here it's all in one place, and it's open and it's just easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously the accessibility out in California is a lot more than what is Ontario, where gyms obviously have been locked down for now the third time since the start of this pandemic. So
First two times worked great, so we just might as well do a third one.
yeah, exactly. May as well just do a third one and hurt some more smaller businesses. A lockdown that I don't think a lot of people, like, for all the lockdowns we've had, I don't want to make into the political side of things, but this is the one that I've seen the most pushback on, just because there doesn't seem much logic in this one, where if the variant of this Brazilian version of the coronavirus is more deadly, wouldn't you just want to overhaul everything and shut everything down? But like, I saw schools in Toronto are going virtual, but schools are safe. I don't know.
There's always a variant. You know what I mean? They keep doing this, and the only lockdown that I could say would make sense at all was the first one, because we tried to do something to stop it, but once we figured out that doesn't work, why would we keep doing things? Even the second time, like, I don't agree with it, but I can understand maybe trying. I can't even say, like, I don't understand trying it again because it didn't work. But a third time, like, it's the definition of insanity. Continue doing the same thing, expecting different results. So it's just, to me, it's just horrible leadership. Like, we're talking Ford, got to get the hell out of there. Trudeau, get him the hell out of there. All of them, overhaul. See you later. You failed at what you did. This is a government. It's supposed to be for the people. You're not doing for the people, so beat it.
Yeah, it'll be real interesting to see what ends up happening and what business makes it out of this lockdown, because that's the ones I feel the worst for, especially some of these businesses that had like literally a week open and then they were told to shut back down again.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest bullshit part of it. Literally, people, my gym was open about 3 weeks, and,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of people, and I'm fortunate, like we have a cheap overhead and we have a good landlord and whatnot, and I don't have a lot of staff or inventory. So, but a lot of people like restaurants, they went and bought, got all their food ready. They bought a lot of food. They brought their staff back, and then all of a sudden they're going for 2, 3 weeks, and then boom, shut right back. They get down again. So that is just like that's criminal, man, to do that to people that are literally on their last kind of string of hope right now as it is. They're just kind of barely hanging on. So to do it to them again, you should see pushback. I hope there's pushback, because it's needed, because this is just not right.
Yeah, I think there's been the most pushback I've seen, but I mean, there's only so much you can do. Someone up in a higher up that would understand where the people's mindset is to make some changes, but so far we have nothing, and we're set with this lockdown at least till the beginning of May, which is unfortunate. So glad you made it out, I guess, Josh, and you can get that training in and gear up for your big fight against Rafael Stotts.
Yeah, yeah. I try and just to focus on that. That's all. Take my mind off all the other bullshit political stuff that we always talk about. But yeah, just focus on training, especially out here. That's all I can, have to do. And yeah, that's my next goal, and that's what I'll focus on.
I guess the last thing before we get into Bellator from this past Friday is you had a good Easter as well.
Easter was good, man. Yeah, yeah, it was good. The kids had a good time. A little nice Easter trail for them in the morning, and yeah, it was good. It was fun. How about you?
Man, yeah, Easter's always a good time. The Friday off's always a little bit weird considering most holidays are always on get the Monday off, but it was nice to get that extra day off and spend some time with family and not really the biggest religious person, but obviously know that it's a important religious holiday and nice to spend time with family for after you don't really get to see them much right now.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not a big religious person either, but I definitely use it to get family together, and I think that's the most important part.
And it was kind of nice as well with not much really going on in the realm of MMA. Like there was a Bellator, which we're about to talk about. CFFC had 2 shows, which, by the way, did you see the CFFC show where the guy lost his finger?
Yeah, I still don't understand how that happened. Like I thought if anything, maybe something to do with the fence. I got stuck in the fence or something, but that wasn't the case. It just his finger fell off. Like I don't get it.
It was like his opponent ripped the top of his finger off and it got stuck in the top of the glove, which is the most gruesome thing I've ever seen. And thankfully, it was like stuck in the glove, so they're easily able to reattach it. But This sport is wild. Like you literally think you've seen everything in this sport until you see that.
It just doesn't really make sense, I don't understand how that could happen. Like I could understand a fence, getting caught, twisted, or something. But like, yeah, that's crazy. If that happened to me, dude, like, he probably didn't even. He might have felt it in the time, but like your adrenaline's going. But once I like stopped and looked down and seen him, like I'd probably turn green and pass out.
Oh, if I was John Morgan or CM Punk calling that fight, it would have been like Bro City. Because I don't know if I could have handled that when they showed the view of him looking at his hand and he's missing a finger. Yeah, that would not have been a good time. I'm not the biggest with that kind of gore and gruesomeness, but that was but credit to. I gotta get the fighter's name there, but credit to the fighter who didn't even seem like he was that much in pain. He was like, I lost my finger. I'll get back out there. And he was upset that he lost his finger and stopped the fight.
Yeah, I'm assuming adrenaline's just pumping and you're not really feeling much pain. But like besides the pain, if I seen that, I'd like knowing that my finger's gone, I'd be like, oh my God, and pass out. So yeah, he's got a strong stomach.
Yeah, Kitag Playev was the fighter, actually from Toronto. So he made the jump over to Philly, and then, what a way to show off in your like CFFC debut in the co-main event. But
that sucks. Yeah.
One of the wildest things you'll ever see, because now on his Tapology, his loss will be KO, TKO, detached finger.
Detached? Does it say that? Yeah.
Yeah. It was a KO TKO loss for him, which I think it should be overturned somehow. Not a loss like that, but. I don't know. It was one of the wildest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, it just sucks when it says the TK. I guess the technical knockout. I guess because that's the only category to put it in. But it should say like sustained injury couldn't continue or something like that.
Or it should be like a no contest or anything, if anything.
Well, like so you don't give the guy the win. I guess then.
I would assume so, because it's not like he was finished or submitted. Guy lost his finger.
I know, but like, what if you slice someone with an elbow and you split them open? They stop the fight because of a cut. It's kind of similar, you know. I don't know. It's a tough one.
I don't know. I mean, cuts, I guess you can kind of understand. I don't think anyone, when they were putting the rules together of the sport, thought fingers or toes would be left inside the cage, but that's now a possibility. So I guess TKO is the end result. I would assume maybe it gets overturned to a no contest. I don't know. This is an unprecedented situation. We've never seen this happen before.
Yeah.
Ever again.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with it. I don't know what they would do, to be honest.
Well, Josh, though, Friday we got back to the realm of Bellator as
Finally.
Bellator. Yeah, finally. That's the perfect way to put it. Finally, after a long hiatus since December, Bellator came back, launched on Showtime. And all in all, and for those of us in Canada, we know for the foreseeable future, we can watch their cards live and free fully from 6 p.m. to the end on YouTube. So that is right now a positive outlook for the viewing of it. But all in all, like, I thought the presentation, while it wasn't anything maybe we hadn't seen before, it just felt like the perfect fit on Showtime. And for the foreseeable future as well, it's going to be Mauro Ranallo as the voice of Bellator.
Yeah, I like that, man. I'm a big Mauro fan. I've known Mauro for forever. He called my very first fight, and we met then. And I'm a big fan. He does Pride Days. He's done Strike Force. He's done WWE.
Elite
boxing, the Elite XC. Like, he's done everything, right? So I just think he's probably my favorite of all of them. Just like his crazy little one-liners he says and things like that, and his energy, and just has that familiar voice that you just recognize, right? So yeah, I'm a big fan of Mauro. I'm happy he's there.
I'm happy he's there too, because I think he brings a lot more energy on the broadcast. And no offense to Mike Goldberg, but he just wasn't selling the product or doing anything. He seemed kind of just there pretty much. And I don't want to see anyone lose their job, but I think Mauro to be the full-time guy for this product right now is the right thing. Obviously, the connection with Showtime Championship Boxing and Bellator now being on there, good crossover as well. But Mauro just brings up the energy, and especially when you get a fight that turns into a firefight, like, he sells it to, he adds the sizzle to the steak that is the fight.
Yeah. Like Goldberg, I like Goldberg, and I feel bad for him. I do like how it's Mauro over him, in my opinion, just because also people associate Goldberg with UFC so much, so it's kind of nice to see somebody that's not associated with the UFC. And Mauro is kind of his own. I know he's been in other promotions, but it can be somebody different that's not an ex-UFC employee.
Plus, it's like they had two number one guys in Goldberg and Mauro, and now you don't have to worry about who's going to be doing what card, or them like maybe arguing what card am I going to do. It's okay. We've made a decision. We're going with one guy, and it's going to be Mauro Ranallo for the foreseeable future. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm happy about that.
And in the words of Mauro, a yo, and away we go, looking at Bellator 255, and of course was headlined by Patricio Pitbull taking on Emmanuel Sanchez in the semifinals of their Featherweight Grand Prix and for the Bellator Featherweight Championship. And, we both picked Pitbull to win this fight, but I don't think we thought it would be this easy for how he kind of handled Sanchez and really made it just look too easy. Rocked Sanchez and was able to jump guard and pull off that guillotine and choke Sanchez out and solidify. Not only is he the best fighter in the history of Bellator, but probably the best 145er in mixed martial arts right now. And now it sets up the awesome Pitbull versus McKee fight for June.
Yeah, man. Pitbull's the real deal, man. I mean, we already knew that beforehand, but I thought Sanchez. I picked it going 5 rounds because he's hard to finish. But I thought Pitbull would win the decision. But yeah, he kind of cracked him with a left hook as Sanchez kind of came in to kick, and he was a little off balance. It's hard to tell if it rocked him or not, but just because he was kind of off balance. But yeah, he snatched up that guillotine, and it was tight, and Sanchez, he's a warrior. He just went out, didn't tap. But yeah, it sets up for that awesome fight that everybody was looking forward to, the AJ McKee and Pitbull. That's a burner, man. I don't know who to pick in that one. you know, you got an undefeated guy that was built in the promotion, and Pitbull was built in the promotion too, and they're so good everywhere, all of them. So that's a banger.
I mean, we've talked about this before, but I think this is the best fight that Bellator in their history can really put together because
Yeah,
the fights they used to put together were like this legend versus that legend or Kilo
yeah,
Slice versus Data 5000, which it brings in a casual audience, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't sell the high level that Bellator has of mixed martial artists, where this one, as you mentioned, both guys are born and bred through Bellator. Pitbull, obviously, a little bit longer from the original tournament days. But I just think if you want to sell like the future and develop some talent, like this is the fight. And I thought Bellator did a great job as well of marketing McKee because McKee was on the desk for
yeah,
the whole broadcast. So getting some fresh eyes on him as well, and getting to hear him talk and get his takes on not only this fight but other fights as well, and just show his great personality. So I thought it was a win-win night for Bellator overall for what their finals of the featherweight Grand Prix will be.
yeah. I agree. It was, I think, a good idea for them to do that, just to kind of build up that fight and build up McKee a bit. Everybody knows Pitbull already, so yeah, it just kind of pumps up that fight and brings more anticipation to it, and it's probably, yeah, they're definitely the biggest fight in featherweight history for the promotion, but probably one of their biggest fights for that new era of bringing up that talent. Not ex UFCers like it kind of used to be, or legends like it coming in like you mentioned. It's like pure raw top of the line, like world class guys that are arguably the best in the world at that weight class.
Plus, it's like also a real test for McKee because McKee's looked fantastic and he's beat some real durable guys in
Yeah.
quick fashion, like especially in this Grand Prix with whether it's Karahanian or Darren Caldwell.
Oh,
But like Pitbull's another level, and you win, like you can launch this guy into the stratosphere as a big face of this Bellator 2.0 brand.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Like he would be if he beats Pitbull, then he's the man. I think all of his fights in Bellator, 17-0 or something like that, 18-0, like that's impressive, man. And to beat like those two guys that he just beat, then Pitbull, that's a hell of a resume, and I think it puts him right at the top.
Well, I said when we, kind of recap this Pitbull Sanchez fight that Pitbull's, to me right now, he's the best 145er on the planet. I mean, would you agree with that, Josh?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think you put him in there with like a McKee or Volkanovski, Ortega, Holloway, any of those 4 or 5 guys. I think any of them could beat each other at any given time. But yeah, 100%. I think I'd put him as the number one guy right now.
Yeah, I just think the run he's been on, the guys he's beat, he just looks indestructible. And no disrespect to Volkanovski or Ortega. I mean, they will have a fight later on down the road. But, like, I just think what Pitbull's doing, he's just set a level right now of that. And I think some people maybe can't get it through their head that a Bellator fighter would be the top guy in a weight class right now. But to me, and with you giving me the backing here, Patricio Pitbull is the best featherweight on planet Earth right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have MMA fans that look at the sport that's outside the scope of the UFC, they'll see that there's more talent out there, right, than just the UFC. The UFC does have the deepest stable and a lot of the top guys, but there are look at Chandler, what he did. He came over. Now he's fighting for the title for UFC. So, and you have Pitbull and you have Lima. And Archuleta could be at the tops of bantamweight, as well as other bantamweights in Bellator. So there's tons of and Nemkov, you know what I mean. So there's tons
Yeah.
of good guys in this promotion, and other promotions. But it just, yeah, sometimes it's not all just in the UFC. There's top world class guys, best in the world outside of it too.
Yeah, and I think, just some of those guys you named off, whether it's Nemkov, Archuleta, obviously, who's the champion in your weight class right now, and a host of others, like, that's right now just the branding point for this Bellator 2.0 of, look at our champions. They're kind of bred within this promotion. And then the next point I'm going to get to here in the co-main event, Jason Jackson, a guy that's, won a unanimous decision against Neiman Gracie. And Gracie, as we talked about last week, is a very durable guy. Jackson's now won 4 in a row, and this is a guy that's really could have won 5 in a row as well, but has made his bread and butter and built his career up as one of the best 170-pound prospects in Bellator.
Yeah, he's kind of that slow, deep, or dark horse kind of guy that nobody really thought much of, right? And then he's just banging off wins. He's got wins over Jordan Main, now Neiman Gracie, and there was another big one before that. I can't remember now. It's slipping if you know if you have it, but yeah.
Well, he should have beat Ed Ruth. I had him beating Ed Ruth on my scorecard, but Benson Henderson, that was it.
Benson Henderson, there you go. I knew it was another big name. So to have those 3 wins in your last your 3 outings, that's big, man. So he's doing well, and he's probably going to get, if not a title shot, probably a number 1 contender fight.
Yeah, I think number 1 contender fight would probably be more likely, because I think if he finished Gracie, for sure, probably fighting for the title. But also, you talked about with a finger being dislocated. Like, Jackson nearly poked his eye out going up against the fence. Like, I've never seen that before, where you inflict that kind of damage on yourself. Like, I've never seen that. Has that ever happened to you? Have you been ever around anything like that happening?
No. I mean, the cage is rough, right? So when you scrape your face on it, especially like you're going for a takedown, and your face is on, and you're pushing against it, and you're like, it sucks. So I can imagine if you your eye caught like he did and kind of like ripped up, however he did it. I didn't know what happened at first. I'm like, what's going on? He's talking about something. I couldn't really hear it, and then I seen the replay of his eye getting ripped like that. It's pretty. Yeah, some weird injuries this past weekend.
Yeah, it what a sport! Like, what a sport to be involved with and cover. But first of all, glad Jason Jackson is okay, because anything with your eyes, especially ramming up against the fence, like doing the full Ric Flair Starcade kind of thing, I'm glad to see that he was okay and was able to, kind of out grapple at moments of that fight a Gracie, which is, shows how level his ground game is. And right now, to me, where Jason Jackson's at, Sanford MMA, like, that's the gym of the year right now for sure in the sport. Yeah. Whether you got Chandler fighting for a UFC lightweight title, Jason Jackson's turning things out, and just a host of other guys just really getting solid victories each and every time they're out.
Yeah, they're definitely a gym that has caught momentum and they're on fire. And that happens sometimes. You see that with gyms, like one guy gets a big win and then it kind of, it kind of is contagious, right? And it kind of spreads throughout the gym. And you see that with, what's the one in New Zealand?
City Kickboxing.
City Kickboxing. Look at all those, all those guys are winning and doing well now. And you've seen it before and with Jackson's gym, and you've seen it with TriStar Gym, and it kind of goes in cycles. But yeah, right now they're rocking it, man.
Yeah, for sure. And it's great to see Jason Jackson, get that win. Like I said, he should probably be 5-0 on this run that he's on right now, but lost the Ed Ruth fight. But as you said, I think he's definitely 1 or 2 fights away from fighting Douglas Lima for that welterweight title, and that's a good win for him. But this was once again a card highlighting a lot of good talent. Like you talked about last week, Chris Gonzalez, the guy that you've been training with, looked phenomenal against Roger Huerta. Really, Roger in that fight, like, I don't want to be rude or anything, but he looked like a step slow in that fight, and Chris really was able to do what he had to do and go out and get that submission through strikes, which you don't see from a guy like that too, like getting Huerta to tap either.
I think, I'm happy Chris won and he looked great. I just think Huerta, I don't like telling guys like to just stop fighting or anything like that, but like, he just didn't look like his heart was in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just got flattened out. Like, I don't know if he had an injury, maybe it could have possibly been his back or something, but or I think he just had enough, and just kind of looked for a way out, because all he did was getting flattened out when he had his back, and then he just tapped. So there wasn't really any, Chris hit him, but it wasn't like it was like devastating shots and he was done. So I don't know. Huerta, he's been around the game a long time. He had a good run. He's at the tail end for sure. I think might be time.
Just in the body language too, right? Like, yeah. I'm not trying to be an expert, but he just, as you said, his heart wasn't in it. He didn't seem like he was having fun out there. And you just want to see someone at least enjoy themselves. Like, this seemed like a job, and when combat sports becomes a job, that's when you get seriously hurt. So hopefully Huerta maybe thinks about calling it a career. One of the best guys and nicest guys for the sport, but I don't want to see him take more damage. And I mean, it's a great win for Chris Gonzalez, but I'm more worried now about the mental stability of what Huerta wants to do as a mixed martial artist.
Yeah. That's when you got to talk to your coaches too. You have to have an honest coach with you that's telling you, listen, if you don't want to do this, you should not be doing this. You know what I mean? It's definitely a sport where you have to be all in. You can't just kind of be like, whatever. It's got to be like, you're doing it or you're not. And I just didn't look like he was into it.
No, he did not. And, to highlight more talent, I mean, Magomedov in your division, Josh, looked phenomenal against CJ Hamilton, second round submission. One of the Canadians on the card, rat garbage. Mandel Nalo with a first round KO over Ricardo Siaxis, and then Usman Nurmagomedov looked unbelievable in his lightweight debut for Bellator. So, I mean, Bellator, we keep talking about, they're stacking a lot of these guys up and just slowly but surely. Like, if you look at Bellator where they could be in 5 years, they could seriously have turned their whole image around.
Oh yeah, I think maybe even sooner. I guess that's what we talked about before. That's why one of the reasons I signed with them too. I like the direction they're headed. I really, I think they pay well. They put on a great show, and they're paying guys, and they're stacking up their roster. And there's a lot of really good guys coming in there now, and a lot of Russians. The Bellator is going after the Russians. You can see they're kind of taking over with another Nurmagomedov and Magomedov and Nemkov and there's another one, a heavyweight. I can't remember his name, but yeah, there's a whole bunch, and yeah, I think like you said, 5 years, maybe even sooner, 3 years. I think you'll see a big, even more guys kind of either go over there or kind of be bred up through the system and punch out a lot of really top talent.
Well, and plus, as we talked about at the top, I think they're on the perfect platform in Showtime, where they'll get the right marketing that they haven't had in quite a while. Whether, when they were on Spike, they got some decent marketing, and then once they got off Spike, they were kind of on this island, or when Spike rebranded, I should say, where they didn't really want Bellator, but they kind of had to keep Bellator, and that cup of coffee at CBS Sports Network, this is the right home for them to help grow up the talent and put a lot more eyes on Bellator with a lot more access as well.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's the right fit. And I just think it's going to continue to grow, and I want to see it, and I want to see it keep going.
And then, speaking of keep going, they got a card this Friday where their light heavyweight Grand Prix kicks off with Ryan Bader taking on Lyoto Machida in a rematch from the UFC, which Lyoto Machida won. But I mean, for Ryan Bader, he has a chance to make history of not only winning a heavyweight Grand Prix, but if he wins a light heavyweight Grand Prix, I mean, that's something for the record books in mixed martial arts. But in tough as always against a guy that's beat him. But I mean, that's got to serve as a serious motivation factor against the Dragon.
Yeah. Big opportunity for him. It's a tough gauntlet for sure. The light heavyweight tournament. To get out of there, and yeah, Machida matchup, a rematch, and I actually remember watching that fight live. I think I was at a restaurant or something, but I do remember it, and it was very, very slow at the first bit because Machida just waited, and then once Bader kind of just got a little too antsy and impatient, he jumped in, and then he got caught, and like what Machida does a lot of the time. So. I think you'll see Bader very tentative about just leaping in and rushing in on anything with Machida just because he is so tricky that way. Or we'll see if he tries to utilize a little bit more wrestling in this one and try to put that weight on Machida to kind of drown him out. But yeah, it's an interesting rematch. I'm excited for it.
I think it's going to be a solid fight. I'm leaning Bader because I think he's more than ever motivated since kind of getting manhandled, losing the light heavyweight title to Nemkov back in the summer of last year. And I don't know how much more Machida has to give. Not saying he's at the point of where Roger Huerta is, but this is a guy that's, he's lost 2 fights in a row. Sure, they were by split decision, but I just think Bader, I think he wants to kind of make that history, and obviously with the potential to get another title fight against Nemkov within the tournament or wherever, however the brackets work. I just lean with Bader that way. And Bader's kind of rebranded himself as a Bellator guy, from being a UFC flameout. He's really kind of rebranded himself as a Bellator guy. So I think if you're Bellator, you don't want to have an opinion on who but it would maybe work best if Bader was able to be the one getting the win. And I think if he gets the win, he could be in, spectacular fashion with a knockout at some point in the second, maybe third round.
Yeah, and especially, he's your light heavyweight champ, heavyweight champ still. Yeah. Right? So you don't want to see your light heavy or heavyweight champ get, knocked out quickly in the tournament, right? So, but yeah, anything could happen. I'd probably lean towards Vader as well. But we'll see. To see if the Dragon can still catch some fire.
Yeah, when you look at this main card as well, I mean Liz Carmouche
Mhm.
taking on Vanessa Porto, so and Kat Zingano's on there as well, so
Oh
a
yeah.
lot more female fights getting marketed. There was a female fight on the main card at 255 last week with uh, one of the nice fighters that was out of Japan. In Kana Watanabe, and I thought that her fight was excellent. But Bellator marketing some of those girls. But I think the fight to look out for on this main card at Bellator 256, Jeremy Kennedy, Adam Borix. I think this has like potential to be one of the best fights of the year. If it goes down like how I think it could, where they just end up slugging it out or whatever. But I'm just really excited. It's a big opportunity for Germany, and it's a step up in competition for Borix.
Yeah, I think it's a step up in competition for Kennedy. To be
Oh,
honest, it's a big opportunity for him. So, but Borix, man, he's done well in Bellator. Who's his only losses are to what was it? His last loss was in the tournament. Was it to Pitbull? Who did he fight? I can't remember.
Borix?
Yeah,
His only loss is to Caldwell.
Caldwell. Sorry, that was it. Yeah, Caldwell. Yeah, only one loss, right?
Yeah,
And to Caldwell, who was a stud. So
which
yeah.
was a title fight, right?
Which yeah, so this is a big opportunity for Kenny for sure. Kenny's good. Obviously, he's been around. He's been in the UFC. I think he went PFL.
He did,
Now
yeah.
he's with Bellator, so he's making the run around, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is a big opportunity to kind of solidify himself as like one of the top featherweights in the promotion. So big opportunity for him.
And it's another good showcase for some of these Canadian guys,
Yeah,
right? Like we saw last weekend with Rat Garbage and Jeremy Kennedy,
so that's his
and
name,
then
Rat Garbage nickname,
yeah,
Rat Garbage.
Mandel Nello. His nickname is Rat Garbage.
What the hell does that mean?
You gotta ask him. He's got a good story on, but that is his nickname, Rat Garbage.
Cool. All right, right on. I
I
like
mean, at
it.
least it gets him out there.
Yeah, Rat Garbage.
Yeah, well, I mean, and shining, the lights on a pretty good fight. And this featherweight division, as we talked about before, it's really building up. And these are some guys that are, could have been in the tournament as well.
Mhm.
When I look at this card, there's the guy that's behind you in the Bellator rankings, Cass Bell, against Jornel Lugo.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know
Got
anything
your eyes
about.
on that one, I bet.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that Lugo guy at all, but I've seen Casbell fight. That was a fight actually we were trying to get, but it didn't end up happening. But Stouts fought him once. That's what we were watching. A little bit of footage on it, but yeah, I mean, I mean, any 35 fight that's potential, could be a fight for me down the road. My eyes are on it, so we'll see what that Lugo guys has. See what he can do with Bell.
Yeah, well, it's going to be. I think once these cards are getting in motion, as we've talked about, it's going to be for the best for Bellator. And now that this Grand Prix will start on Friday, I think that's for the best. This Grand Prix's got a lot of hype around it, and
Yeah.
starting with a bang with Bader and Machida too.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's a great tournament. I wish it was a 35 one, but
Yeah.
I'm happy as a fan to watch it for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, you aren't Japanese and in Japan because Ryzen just did start there last week. A
Yeah.
Japanese only bantamweight Grand Prix, which will end on New Year's Eve. But maybe next year they can have like a cross promotion one,
Yeah.
bantamweight Super Grand Prix or whatever they call it, where you can fight on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that's a dream, man. That's one I always wanted to get on that card. The Bellator version crossover one. That's on New Year's. That's awesome.
Yeah, man, got to get to the Saitama Super Arena. So
Yeah. That's
that's a bucket list thing for I think any fan, whether you're a fighter or just a
Yep.
fan of the sport. Get to
Hey,
Japan for New Year's Eve.
agreed. Yeah, it's on the bucket list for sure.
I mean, also, what a big week for MMA. Like, one championship, they start on TNT tomorrow
Is that
night
yeah, tomorrow, yeah.
with Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and Eddie Alvarez fighting. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the mayhem that is going to be mixed martial arts in April with Bellator is in motion, one championship, and then obviously your UFC cards and PFL by the end of April. So, four major promotions on major network platforms. I mean, MMA is getting a big shot in the arm this month.
Yeah, the big four are in full swing again, which is nice. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that makes me very happy, especially when PFL comes around. I can't wait till we get to talk about that in a
Yeah.
couple weeks. But moving on, I mean, there is a UFC show after the 1 week break, which was not gonna lie, kind of a little nice to reset everything. But had an opponent change as when we were recording last week, Darren Till pulled out of his fight with Marvin Vettori. He has a collarbone injury, and Kevin Holland steps in on short notice and looks to have a much better performance than he did against Derek Brunson some 2-3 weeks ago. Always a guy coming in last minute against, someone like Marvin Vettori. It's always, got to shift your game plan for Vettori, and it makes it interesting. But Holland seems to take this one a lot more serious than what he was talking against Brunson. And I think for Holland, he needs a finish in this one, or he needs a win at least to look impressive, because he kind of lost a lot of stock with a lot of people with his outing against Derek Brunson.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you come off a loss, you want to erase that, right, and get right back in the win column. It's important just to get the win, obviously, and get your confidence back, and to just get back and pursuing your career or in an upward trajectories. But yeah, it's a tough one because you're stepping in on short notice. I'm sure he wasn't out of shape or didn't get too out of shape because he just fought recently and probably didn't take a whole lot of damage. But the Vettori, I've only seen him fight like I think maybe once, twice. I don't know a whole lot about him, but from what I've seen, looks more like a scrappy stand-up guy. Likes to bang, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, we'll see what Holland kind of does with him if he kind of just talks shit the whole time and tries to get in his head a little bit and try to make him swing and tense up and miss. But we'll see.
Well, I mean, I agree. That is kind of Vittori's style. He likes to throw the strikes, and he's durable and tough. Like, he lost 2 decisive rounds against Jack Hermanson before the end of 2020 and was able to turn the corner and hurt Hermanson a lot and win, I believe it was a split decision victory, and win 2 out of the scorecards. But, I don't know if you want to take that style against Kevin Holland, because Holland can punch with the best of them, especially at 185. And I think we've just seen what the blueprint is. Just take Holland down if you use your wrestling. And as short notice is a fight. This as well. Like, how much wrestling can you pick up in 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah, none really. You'll just kind of maintain what you did in the last camp and whatnot, but you're not going to really. You might keep your cardio at the same level or maybe up it a tiny bit if you really want, but probably not a whole lot. But you're not going to gain a whole lot of wisdom in 2 weeks. It's not going to really register and be solidified in your repertoire. It takes a lot of time and a lot of repetitions for that. So, yeah, like you said, you kind of gave the blueprint on how to beat this guy. He just fought a couple weeks ago or whatever it was. If you're a smart fighter, you probably want to take that route, but I could see that guy saying, I want to knock this guy out instead, and that could make for an interesting fight.
As well, I guess the last thing on Holland, because he's taking this fight on short notice, do you think he maybe rushed this too quickly, trying to improve his stock? Because, he didn't take much damage, I guess, but you kind of maybe want to take the time to improve that wrestling.
Yeah, but you know what, man? It's another payday. We fight for money, right? You got to remember that aspect. A lot of people just only focus on the winning and the going for a title and whatnot. But we do this sport because we love it, but also to make money. So it's another paycheck for him. Maybe he got offered a little bit more because it is short notice, and it's a chance to kind of erase that loss. He thinks he can do that. It's not too bad of a matchup, or when he's confident in doing it anyway. He took the fight, so that might be another reason why. And we'll see if he can at least kind of understand, acknowledge how he lost his last fight, and see where he's kind of weak, and really try to just take that seriously, because you could see it in his last fight, he was just kind of chirping the whole time and wasn't really doing anything, and you're losing, right? So let's turn that around and get serious.
Yeah, and I guess as well, this is the second card that's going to be on ABC in not prime time, but in the afternoon, where there's only your local regional baseball going up ahead again with it. The March Madness tournament's over, so there will be some eyeballs on it. And you can turn your way around and to showcase that personality if you get a win, because he seems to be, from what he's saying, taking this fight a lot more differently than he did with Brunson, which I think is a positive, because Marvin Vettori is a dangerous guy.
Yeah, and you got to remember he was on a 5-fight win streak before this, right? So and I don't know, it was a 5-fight win streak or 5 fights in a row.
5 fights in a row from May to December.
Yeah. So, I mean, the guy's put in work and done well, right? So it's not like he's a guy that's, lost 2, won 1, and then, lost again. Now he's coming off another one. He's put together an impressive string. And he was the talk of the town for a bit. So I understand why he wants to keep that hype high and try to erase that last one.
Yeah, and I think you know what? It's to salvage the most out of a situation where it's supposed to be Darren Till, right? But he's not out, and if the UFC wants this card to be on ABC, it's already locked in. You got to make the most here with Kevin Holland, and I think Kevin Holland can do enough to bring some eyes on it. I mean, Marvin Vettori's not going to maybe sell a casual fan on it, but I think it's going to be you gotta do what you gotta live with, right?
It's either that or you lose your main event, right? Who else is going to step in, right? So it's a salvage fight, I think, and still going to make for an interesting one, but it's not going to be like a, one that's going to be a blockbuster of views.
No, I don't think so. I think if they just be happy enough with doing well in the demo at that time, I think they can win out against whatever else is on the other 3 networks at that time slot. I think that's a win. I mean, and that's the thing. This card's going to be prelims start at 11 a.m. Eastern, and the main card, I believe, is at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So
11 a.m. Eastern, eh?
Yeah, we gotta.
So I'm gonna be out here. That's gonna 8 a.m.
Yeah, wake up
and watch.
Do a little roll, watch fights.
Yeah, crazy.
I honestly think they did this because they don't want to be competing with WrestleMania.
Oh, right. Mania is on, right? Yeah.
It's a 2-night event with WrestleMania.
2-night event, yes, that's right. Okay,
So,
well, I mean, I'm out here by myself, so I might actually be able to watch it this time.
Oh, Josh, we'll have to get your takes on WrestleMania. we may look at the card now before when we wrap up here, as I mean, a 2-night event once again, but in attendance at Raymond James Stadium with a limited capacity will be there, but for the first time since the start of this pandemic, they'll be out of the screens for at least one night.
Yeah, get out of that Black Mirror episode looking shit.
Well, it'll be interesting too, right? Because a lot of these guys haven't worked in front of a crowd. Like, I know it's bred into them, but you kind of may lose that a little bit. Like, you don't know how things are working and just reacting if something goes awry, right?
I think they'll be fine. I mean, they're all been doing it for years and years and years before all this with fans. So it's gonna, maybe that first 2 minutes or so might just be like, oh shit, we'll get fans back. But after that, I think they'll be right back on it.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see how it goes, because last year it was fine. You could tape some of the stuff. I don't know if anything's going to be taped. It's going to be live from...
I hope not. I hope it's live, yeah.
I don't know if we have any of these silly taped matches like we did with Undertaker last year, which was fine. One of the better matches.
That was like an anomaly just because it was Taker, you know what I mean? And it actually worked out well because it was something they could like stop and go and tape with him because he was old, and it kind of... it's his last, type of match. But everything else, anybody else, I want to see it live.
Yeah, I think we all do. I just want to see what it's going to look like with, a live venue with fans. I think that's the big question. Like, sure, UFC's had some fans. Like, baseball's now opening up with fans. If you saw Texas yesterday
awesome.
with the Rangers against the Blue Jays. So, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, let's just look. We're talking about. Let's look at WrestleMania. I mean, you say you're gonna be.
Look how excited he is. Hey, look at him.
It's WrestleMania weekend, Josh. I mean, I'm not expecting you to watch everything. Maybe just the manias, I guess, because there is so much that is going on this weekend. It is insane, and the MMA cards don't help with what's going on. But I'll be tuning into as much as possible.
On the screen from Friday to Sunday night.
Oh man, like, you have no idea. It's gonna be. It really starts tomorrow with NXT with their first night of their takeover, and then all the other independent shows that are going on. But let's look at this card. I mean, First of all, how much have you actually watched? Do you just watch WrestleMania, Josh? I know you used to be a fan, but do you just watch like a show here or there?
Yeah, I mean, I was a fan. I think all of us were huge fans growing up from the time I was a baby to I don't know mid-teens. I was a huge fan, and then kind of faded away, and then I got back into it a few years ago. Well, it's probably more than that now, and I for a couple years, and I watched it as much as I could. I just think that was the problem too. Before it was like Monday night, that was it, and then your big shows. But now you got SmackDown, you got Raw, it just is a lot, and they're like 3 hours long. It's just you can't keep up with it all, right? So I'll watch Mania every year, and I'll watch Rumble every year, and then here or there I might watch if I can catch something. That's pretty much it, though. I've turned to a casual.
Who do you enjoy to watch that is in World Wrestling Entertainment? That now that you are a casual, now that you are like a casual, but you check in, you know who's kind of good and who's maybe needs.
Yeah, I mean, I love when anybody old schools comes back. Obviously, that's my thing. But as far as the guys now, like AJ Styles is pretty dope. I really like what he's doing. Edge is back, which is pretty cool. I really like that. Rollins is good. I always like Ambrose. I know he's gone now. He's with AEW, right?
Yes, right? He is.
So yeah, those guys I would say. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anybody else that's really Hardys were back, right? That's pretty cool. So yeah, I like when all the old guys come back, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, as you said, the Edge is back. He's wrestling for the title. Night 2 of WrestleMania, so that's Sunday against Roman Reigns.
Like Orton's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll enjoy the Orton match this Sunday because it may be one of those cinematic matches.
Oh, really?
Because of the program he's in, which has been one of the worst programs, arguably of the year. Like everything they do, it's too hokey for me. It's like taking the disbelief and just ruining it of wrestling. But as you say, he's a fantastic wrestler. But as you say you want to see the older guys come back. Edge is back. He's wrestling for the title against Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. What I think could be probably one of the best matches on the show with two excellent talents in Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, who's one of the best characters they have going as well.
Yeah, no, those are guys. I'm not like diehard fans of them, but they're awesome wrestlers, like very entertaining, right? Especially Daniel Bryan, like to be a guy like his kind of stature too. He's not built or anything, but he just knows how to sell it, and he's just entertaining.
Plus it's a match with three guys who had their career cut short at one point, right? Like Edge with a neck injury, Daniel Bryan with concussions, and Roman Reigns with leukemia.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a cool story as well.
Right. Yeah. All the kind of comeback second chances. This is pretty cool.
I mean, and the night one, I don't think it's the main event, but for the WWE title, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley coming in.
Bobby Lashley, yes. Yeah. Okay. Bobby was a guy that, he's a savage, So I guess he's not fighting MMA anymore then.
Oh no, absolutely not. Not when you sign with WWE, you are their property and for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. What's Lesnar doing?
He's right now a free agent, waiting to see whatever happens. If anything, I think with Brock, he'd come back to WWE. I don't think he wants that USADA test pool stuff again. Plus, if he gets back into testing, he'd be suspended like 2 years because he did pop when he fought Mark Hunt. So he would be. But yeah, Bobby Lashley, he's coming in as the WWE champion against Drew McIntyre.
Cool. So, I like that. Yeah, I'll watch that.
So, I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun night. I mean, 7 matches per show as well, so it shouldn't drag too long. You get out there in a good enough time and get you excited for the next night and then whatever. But, yeah, it's a crazy week, Josh, actually. From Monday till next Tuesday, there is WWE programming on television.
Really? Wow.
Yes. So, you'd be thankful you're a casual, I guess. You just get to
yeah, I definitely can't keep up to all that, but yeah, I'll tune in for the big ones. Like I said, I'm a casual now, but yeah, I do still. It's entertaining, and I appreciate it.
Well, as it is Mania weekend, we can end on a softie. Favorite Mania you have watched live, I should say.
Yeah, I've never attended Mania. That would be cool to do, though. I really love that. Watched live? Oh man, going like back as a kid, like. I remember like Hogan and The Rock was cool, and just because that was in
Oh,
Toronto too,
Toronto,
right?
yeah.
Right, yeah. I just remember that comes to my mind, and also just like as more recently, just because I think I was watching my buddy Tony's place when I think it was Triple H, and was it Sting, and then DX
Yeah.
and NWO, because it's all old school, so that's why I like it, right? So yeah, NWO comes out, DX comes out, and they're just the battle of my generation watching those wrestlers. So that was pretty cool.
Oh man, every time they do like a Raw reunion
Yeah,
episode where they just bring all the old guys back, I should
love
tell you because you'll help bump up the viewership that they desperately need because they bring them all back for that
yeah,
one
dude.
night.
I love those ones when they do that, the old school ones. Yeah, when they bring them back, like Jake the Snake and DDP and all those guys. So yeah, I'm anytime they do that, I'll tune in.
Yeah, I mean it's an exciting. I mean, obviously Mania's Mania. It's getting a lot of press because it's Mania
Good.
and brings it in. But I mean, for me, my favorite would probably be Mania 13 match, just of the match of Austin
Bret
and
Hart.
Hart,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that to me is like the epitome of what you want a pro wrestling matches and what they accomplished in there, where Bret came in as the baby face and Austin came out the heel, and then the roles switched at the end of the match. So
Yeah,
and plus, it's like
that's cool.
one of the rare matches in WWF/E where you kind of felt it was a fight.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't I'd have to go back and watch, but I do remember like it being a crazy match and one of the best for sure. But yeah, that's I mean those two guys right there, those were some of my favorites as well. I mean everybody's favorite was Stone Cold at one point, right? But
yes,
him and Hart together, just it's excellence.
I did watch WrestleMania 17 a couple days ago, so pretty much the end of the Attitude Era. But like, man, what an event! Like with so much talent, like Austin Rock main eventing that. You had Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit wrestling on that card. The
Crazy.
second TLC match. I mean, that maybe that is the best WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah, I'd like to go back and watch like just all of them if I ever had the time to actually do that. But yeah, anytime like a big show's on, dude, I tune in for sure just because I guess it's also nostalgia feel too. It's like reminds me of a kid when I'm watching this, so I kind of enjoy it like that.
Well, Josh, we'll have to get your report on your thoughts on Mania from this past weekend with
All
the
right.
dual night. And if you have time as well, you can maybe when you're chilling after practice from Alpha Male, check out the NXT Takeover specials. Their version of WrestleMania. The one is tomorrow, which is free on the USA Network, and the other one is on the streaming service now, Peacock, because Peacock, the streaming service, bought the WWE Network. So if you get time to check it out, always get your thoughts on that. But definitely we'll get Josh Hill's report card on WrestleMania, what he thought of the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania 37.
That sounds good, man. Looking forward to it.
All right, Josh. Well, we'll wrap things up here. Of course, plug yourself out there on Instagram and enjoy the time out in California. Get some good training in, and happy to see you made it out there and gearing up for once again a very big fight where you can move up the rankings from 7.
Yeah, yeah. This is I mean, every next fight's my biggest fight, right? And no matter what in my whole career. But yeah, this is one. I mean, I think I should be higher than 7. You know what I mean? But whatever, it doesn't matter. Stotts, I think they got him at 3. So I
They
take
do.
out
He is number
yeah,
3.
3. So I beat him. That puts me right up in that top 3, which I should be anyway. So it's a tough fight, but I'm excited. I look forward to it, man. And social media as far as that gentleman Jay Hill as always. And yeah, man, we'll talk to you and give you my thoughts on WrestleMania next week.
Yeah, I think now we got the big hook for everyone. What did Josh think of WrestleMania? What did he think of Bad Bunny, the Latin music artist making his in-ring debut?
I'll see. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Exactly. See, this is why we need to have your thoughts on WrestleMania. But yeah, I mean, when the time comes, after May 7th, you gotta cut that Michael Chandler, Ric Flair like promo, and for sure
Right?
catapult yourself into that #1 title shot opportunity.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to think of something for sure. I got to get it ready.
Just watch some Ric Flair. There's tons of them on
The
YouTube.
best ever do it. That's for sure.
Or you can go the Bret Hart, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I mean, there's tons. I can help write one for you if you need.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I would like that.
All right, Josh. Well, enjoy the timeout in Team Alpha Male, and we'll talk
Thanks, man.
again next week with you from once again the Sunshine State.
See you, buddy.
All right.